Okay, welcome. Sorry for the delay. Angela is running a little bit late. So I think we'll do a set of sprints. Let me set things up because, of course, I am not ready because I'm not usually doing those. Um, and we can do a timer. Okay. We usually have a kitty timer, so. And maybe we can actually do like 15 minutes so that she's ready. Okay. Let's actually. Um, okay. So we'll go into sprints and hopefully in 15 minutes, Angela should be there. She was just a few minutes late, so let's go.
17, I'm not sure if you know that your mic's on, so I just wanted to let you know.
My mic is on?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I know. I muted on the other side, actually, but that's okay.
Oh, well, I was hearing noise coming through, so I just wanted you to be
Oh,
aware.
okay.
Yes.
That's bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, and our 15-minute sprint is over. I apologize because I still haven't figured out how to do the
No worries.
sound thing. Um, yeah, I think I'm a little bit tired today, so I was setting things up, and I was like, "Oh, I'm late actually," because I set the physically, like the spots, for the
Mhm.
computer, all the things and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, I have a half an hour, so I can, like look up and do a little bit of gaming and stuff," and then I was like, you texted me and saying like, "Oh, I'm late." Oh, shoot. So yes, yeah.
No, I mean, I was certainly late. I got home and I made dinner and I started to eat dinner. And then I looked at the clock and I realized that I had 10 minutes to finish my dinner and grab Atlas and take him outside and then come back
Mhm.
upstairs. And
I
I was like,
see.
oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think that's going to happen in
Yeah, yeah.
minutes, unfortunately.
Makes sense.
So we'll just hop on in between the first two sprints. It'll be just
Yeah.
fine. We've got some friends in the chat. Hi,
Yeah.
friends.
We have
It's wonderful.
Michelle.
Great to
Hi,
see you.
Michelle with Poe, her cat.
Mhm.
We have Tanel. She didn't read in this one. Yeah. Next one, she's reading Bond of Hercules. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of this one. Bree, hi. Um, yeah, thanks for joining us. And Michelle is going to read The Manson Curse by Del Shannon.
That
Yes.
sounds exactly like a Michelle book. That sounds
Yes, it does.
Michelle to the. I can
It does.
adjust this a little bit so that you guys
It
can
does.
see the puppy.
So for me in the first
Uh,
sprint, I did read a chapter of Quicksilver because I'm doing a reread with a friend of it
oh, that's good.
before, like book two comes out. I was
Mhm.
not actually expecting to do a reread, but my friend was like, I'm doing a reread. Do you want to join me? And these days I'm like, yeah, sure. And I'm saying yes to all the buddy reads. So it's okay, but it would be okay, except that I have a second buddy read of A River Enchanted, which is why, I'm gonna try and flip-flop between the If Ever So Black that I have to read because I'm also doing this TBR down challenge and I did drew this one out. Well, I chose this one out. And then I do need to make some progress in A River Enchanted since I made some
Okay.
progress in the other buddy read today before. So yeah, that's the plan.
Bree said that
And
she will be
yeah,
reading My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I have not read any Frederick Bachman yet. I've heard that they make you cry, and I'm not sure that I need that in my life right now.
I've read one for the Bachman Anxious People just when it was released
Mhm.
also. I don't know why I read this one, but I think the synopsis like drew me in. And it was really a strange experience because like the first half was so much fun, like so absurd in some parts and really like because like it's basically the story of this like bank robber and she goes in a bank in
Oh,
Sweden to rob somebody, but the bank is saying like, "Yeah, but we don't have any cash anymore in the bank." You know?
okay.
It's all, like in the machine. We don't have access to the machine. We don't have anything. And so she basically like panics. Well, they basically panic and like they like the bank, like the cashier, she panics, the bank robber, they panic, and then they go like all of them panic, right? And the bank robber happens to go next door because they hear like the police and all those things, and then
Mhm.
they go next door to this like house which is like an open house, I guess, for it's like somebody who
Okay.
was like flipping a house, I think. So there's a bunch of people and they get sort of kidnapped and like it's a hostage situation after that. So it's like kind of funny, but after that it gets like a lot more serious because you realize that all of them, even the bank robber, they have like, a very like sad story, but like the very like first like scenes and everything is like basically you're interviewing like the cashier who was robbed, right? And they're like
Yeah.
also like not even like they were not even super like scared of a situation. They were like, well, they were scared at the time, but now they're like more annoyed when they get like this interviewer and they try to not answer them as obnoxiously as possible. So it's like, so it's
Yeah.
funny, but
Yeah. It just kind of doesn't sound up my alley, I must be honest. But I'm so
no,
glad
it
that so many
was
people
I
so
don't really read a lot of contemporary, I would say anyway, or no, contemporary literary fiction anyway. But I was kind of in a mood for it. I wanted to try. I'd read also like it's another Swedish or is it Norwegian author who wrote like the man who doesn't want to celebrate his birthday or something like this. I only know
okay.
the title in French because I read it in French, but that one was like super funny and like so absurd. And I remember when I started to read Fredrik Backman, like the absurd situation kind of thing really reminded me of
Mhm.
that, other Scandinavian novel. And I was like, is this a more like a Scandinavian thing that you have this sort of absurd kind of humor situation kind of thing?
It could be like a
Like,
common
yeah.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Cool.
Or it
Also,
was also mostly maybe the way it was presented that made me also like think that there was a similarity, in the way it was written. But anyway, yeah.
yeah.
What are
I
you gonna
can't tell
read?
if I dropped.
Oh,
I don't know. So right now, I am
yes.
reading. I think I might have dropped a stitch. I can't tell. No, I don't
Oops.
think I dropped a stitch. Oh no. Okay. So right now I'm in the middle of A Botanist's Guide to Parties and Poison, which
Okay.
is a cute historical romance, not historical romance, a historical mystery with a romance
Mm,
subplot that came out a couple of years ago.
okay.
It's a 4-book series so far, and I'm really enjoying it. This is just the first book, but what I really need to focus on today is whatever this last star is. So those of you who might not have joined us before, at the beginning of the year, last
Angela,
December, almost yes.
I did look up the last star so I know what it is.
No, I don't even want to look at your face.
Yeah.
So we gave each other 12 little book challenges of books we needed to read during the
Yes.
year. Um, and we've been slowly working through them. And this is my last one. I've either read or DNF'd all of the rest of them. And this
Yes.
is the last little bar that has my book inside and my reading fate. Um, I will say that I've now dropped it twice. Just a moment.
Yeah, so I also have for her the books she chose for me. I also have read or DNF'd. I think I've only DNF'd one. But I've also read or attempted at least 11 of those 12. And so I also have only one book left, which is Rural Assassin by Robin Hobb, but I'm waiting for the loan from my library. That should come through. And I think Angela's trying to figure out her star situation. Um, so yeah, um, let us know about like your challenges maybe for this year. Like, how are you doing on your goals? If you haven't seen us last time, we were chatting a little bit about this too.
So
Um,
hilariously, the star is
yes.
nowhere to be found. The star has run away. I checked
Do
under my
you want
chair.
me
I
to
saw
tell
her
you
under
what
the
the last star is supposed to be?
floor. I do not know where it is.
Because
So I
I
think the
know
only
what the
option, since
yeah,
you looked it up, I think the only option is for you just to tell me because um,
yes. It is a very different book
I just
from the
found
one
some
you're reading right
cardboard next to
now.
me. I have not found my star. Go ahead.
So the
What
last
is it?
one I put is The Poppy War by R.S. Kwong.
Oh,
I know.
Clementine.
I
I
tried
don't
I
wanna.
tried you told me, like there were some books and I saw it on your physical TBR, and I was like, you know,
Yeah,
I'm not saying that you have to read it. You have to attempt it, right? By the end of this year.
I
It doesn't
know.
okay, how about we say that in the next sprints when I finally have access to Royal Assassin because that one is going to be hard for me too. You can also read the Poppy War and we can try,
Yeah, let me see if I even have it. Yeah. Um, I might have it. I'm happy to, give it a try. It's another one where
Sure.
I read the first book and then never read the rest of them. I bought
Mm.
sorry, I bought all the books in the series. So I have them all.
That's why
Um,
I put it on the challenge list because I saw that you had the whole series. So it was like,
I must have borrowed the audiobook when I read it and not bought it. At
mm,
least I think so. Okay, audiobook actually I would need to put on hold.
sure.
There's one other place I can check to see if I have it. I have a brief reprieve. That's how I'm that's how I'm interpreting this.
That's
I
why
just
I
finally
interpreted it for me too. So when you told me, "Oh, but you could get it somewhere else," and I was like, "No, no, no, no. I'm gonna put a hold. I'm not ready
Oh,
for it."
I should check Hoopla. You're right. I should check Hoopla. Um, I just finished the Mistborn books. It took me
Mm.
until yesterday night to read all four of them. But I'm done. I finished.
But you
Go me.
and I didn't even ask you to read all four of them. The goal was
I
just to
know, but
make
I
some
did it.
progress more than, get past the second book in this Miss Bortney or two.
Oh, I can get it on Hoopla. So I will be starting the Poppy War. I don't know if I will be finishing it. It would be nice to get those
Okay.
books off of my shelf, though. It would be nice to either decide if I'm going to read them
Yeah.
or if I'm
No.
going to get rid of all three of them. So,
Michelle, the question is not like that she
well,
doesn't have a copy. She has a physical
I
copy.
have a
The
physical
is
copy now.
it's the audiobook, but thank you so
Yes, I
much.
don't want to read the physical copy. I want to listen to it while I knit. I am knitting a sweater
Yeah.
that you guys aren't going to be able to see very well. It's knitted
Mm.
flat, and I'm using blanket yarn. I'm basically making a sweatshirt, is the idea. You can kind of see the center part of it.
Mm.
It's got like this moss stitch in the middle, and then these
Nice.
cables on the side, which I think are nice. But it's like very
Mm.
chunky yarn. It's going pretty fast. But I would love to make
And
some more
and
progress.
since you were gone for a little bit because you were trying to retrieve a star with no avail, uh, I was asking them a little bit about their goals. They wanted to share a little bit. Tanel didn't set many goals this year, but she did surpass her reading goal. Yay! Congratulations for this. And Michelle, her goals were 80 books and 30 key pages. I think she talked about it last time, but now she's read 129 books and 50,000 pages. Wow, that is
Michelle's
good.
been killing it this year. So,
That,
Clementine,
yeah.
which die should we roll? Or do you have a time in mind?
I don't have a time in mind as usual. I don't. I really don't.
Okay. Well, where do you fall on the chaos scale? And anyone else can vote on this too in the chat. Like we could just roll a d4 and have like 15 or 30 or 45 or an hour, or we could roll like the d20 and have anywhere from 3 minutes to an hour. So what are you feeling?
Well, we can start, like with a D4. Let's, like the
And get
chaos, like
increasingly more chaotic throughout
small,
the
and
day.
then we can
That's
see
really
with
funny.
people in the chat which die that they want, for next time. We can see maybe.
Okay, that's very fair. We got a 2.
Okay,
That would be
30
30
minutes.
minutes. All right. Do you
That
want to put
doesn't
up the
seem
timer
very
or should I?
chaos because we had chaos roll in the chat, but it's not. It's slow chaos.
Oh,
From
to
the
know, right?
beginning,
All right.
we're going small and then we're gonna
We'll
expand.
start tiny. I actually think it would be really funny if we did a D4 and then a D6 and then a D8. Like if we got
We
increasingly
should try.
chaotic.
Okay,
That's
now
kind of
we have
fun.
to do this.
Okay. Maybe we can make it all the way through a D20 tonight, but maybe not. Okay. Oh, it
We'll
says
see.
25, but because I forgot to change the time.
Yep,
It should
that's
be
automatic.
30. Huzzah. Well, good luck, friends. Happy reading. Please pray for
Yes,
me.
I will. Hello, welcome back,
Hello.
everyone. Let us know how much you read. Angela, how's it going?
It's good. I mean, the thing with the Poppy War is that it feels like two different books. So the first
Mhm.
half of it is like a military academy, like school
Yeah,
situation, and then the second half of it is very different. So the first half of it, I really enjoyed the first time round, and I'm continuing to enjoy it. I'm about six
yeah,
percent of the way through, which isn't super long or isn't super far, but it's a really long book. So
yeah,
I'm happy with that
yeah.
progress. How about you?
So I only read 25 pages, which is actually 8% because that book is smaller. Um, I'm not feeling it so far, but I think
Mhm.
it's too close. It's too short to really, give an idea because it's like two chapters in a little bit. But I'm already having a little bit of concerns with the way it's set up because it's like one of those like fairy, except fairy is written Faery, like
Oh,
whatever. But
that's like a
the
combination
idea
of the
is,
two different ways that I
yeah,
know how to
I
spell
know.
fairy.
Everyone's trying
That's
a different way of, spelling it. So that was the first thing. The first thing that annoyed me, and that's why it took me longer to read, is I reread the first like minute for like three times because they
Mhm.
had an excerpt in the audio, like what you have in the paperback sometimes, of the book. And they read it out loud in the audio, except with the ebook, it's not there. And so you're like, okay. So I was trying to match what I had in my, on my Kindle and what I had in the audio. But anyway, yeah, I think the problem is like you're following this changeling, it's in this Irish folklore kind of thing. And so they say like the changeling was like replacing like this princess, and I look exactly like her, but I'm not her. But I have night black hair and mismatched eyes. So, how much exactly do you look like the princess? If you have different hair, different eyes already. Okay, the bone structure, I guess, but you didn't tell us anything. So, okay, fine. Um, and the second thing is that, basically the premise is that the queen finally found a way to save her princess who was taken by the changeling. And so she's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to send the prince who was supposed to wed this princess, who basically the changeling has spent, most of her life with, training with him and all those things. And obviously she's in love with him. And I don't
Mhm.
especially like friends to lovers because mostly because it is an established relationship in this case. You don't see it happening. You're like, she's already in love with him, and and there's already like she's already been rejected or whatever. So I yeah, I'm afraid it's not going to be enough setup for me, but we'll see. I'll read a
Yeah.
little bit more. Anyway, I chatted
We'll
too
see what
much.
happens for sure.
Exactly. Tanel got 37 more pages of Tabongs of Hercules. Great. And Michelle, two chapters. Oh, and Tanel, I've read that one. It's not an easy read in subject matter. Okay. I think I'm okay with most like trigger warnings, but oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Ignore me. That's okay. There's so many of them.
See, I saw Tanel's comment, and then I was listening to your description, and your description just was not as dark as Tanel's comment implied. And I was like, okay, or like I was waiting for the deep, dark, or
Mhm.
terrible twist to
I mean,
happen.
it could have a deep, dark, terrible twist.
Maybe,
I'm only two
yeah.
chapters in. But like, she's just about to see the queen to see this. She just met the prince back, who's saying, "Oh, I'm back after 4 years. That I was gone, and like because she told me we could save the princess. And that's all I know, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. But so far, it's a lot of telling, not showing. So, but that's okay. We'll see. If I
I
don't
feel like
like
a
it,
lot of like
I can do.
folklore-esque books do that.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Especially at
I'm
the beginning.
also,
Sometimes it peters out.
yeah, the buddy read I have of A River Enchanted is also happens also to be folklore. Didn't want to read two of the same kind of folklore book at the same time, but that's okay. Um,
Mhm.
and that one also like has a lot of tales, so it's a lot of telling and maybe not showing. But like I'm a lot more intrigued of that one, but also I'm a lot farther in, a little bit farther in. But oh yeah, Feathers Suspicious was the one Tana was thinking of. Yep, yep, I know. That one is, yeah. And I don't think I would read. I'm not too much the into dark romance. Usually it doesn't work that well for me, but yeah.
Yep. So something that Clementine and I did not do in preparation for today was think of any topics to talk about
Well,
in between sprints.
I did actually think of that a little bit, and one thing is I think we were chatting about like goals last time and like what we're gonna do for next year, and I was actually starting to do my reading journal, um and I was actually looking at what's working and what's not working. But it got me into the challenges that I like the reading challenges like the art fantasy and stuff like this that I have. um
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know if you wanted to chat about the art fantasy bingo, where you're at, if you finished it or not,
Ooh.
or if you wanted to chat about the new romantasy challenge, which is a bingo challenge that started in November, that Covers with Cassidy started also.
So I haven't
Uh,
started that one.
yeah,
I'm not familiar with that one, but I have been slowly working on the fantasy subreddit challenge if we wanted to go through
yep.
that and see what our progress is. I've been pretty terrible about logging my progress. So I actually restarted it in June to do it for
Mm,
the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. So there are some books that
sure.
I've logged for it on Storygraph. So like there are some prompts that I've finished, but I haven't finished in the readathon, so I'm going to do them again. It's like I'm doing this double duty situation.
Mm.
But yeah, let me pull up my readathon spreadsheet and
I
see
just I
what I've
just
got.
have this like spreadsheet on on Google where I do these because always I never do. So far I think for the I've been doing
Ooh.
is a different route because last year I struggled to finish it because I really wanted to do and try it hard mode from the start.
Mhm.
And so this year what I'm doing is that I'm filling it even if it's not hard mode, so I have something. And if I finish that, and if one of them is also working for hard mode, great, but if it doesn't, that's
Yeah.
fine. That way I'll see if I finish, then I can, work on them to slowly try and get all of them hard mode. But I think so far I have 3 prompts that I don't have filled at all.
I have
And
5 that I haven't filled yet on my spreadsheet, though I'm sure some of them I could. Yeah, they're ones that, like, I haven't filled them in because things I could count there, I've been counting elsewhere. So, like,
sure.
I've done them. If I were
Yeah, yeah.
filling it out, I think except for short stories is blank for me. So, except for the short stories, I think I've done everything else.
So with the
Well,
challenge, I know that you can replace one of them. So I did replace the short stories already because I never, especially like the hard mode, which is like the whole set of like 5+ stories or whatever. And so I chose like one that was kind of interesting to me, from like a previous year that I didn't do that year because I think it was one of the first years, which is that the title is 4 or more words and
mhm,
the hard mode is 7 or more words, which, I tried
it's
my best because
easy.
like 4 words is fine, but like 7 words is a lot harder, obviously. And I just recently did that one with the new Django Wexler. Everybody wants to rule the world, expect me. So it's
Mhm.
8 words. Thank you very much. And that
Yeah, I
works.
feel like we've had a lot of very long titles coming out.
Mhm.
in the past few years. Yeah, I haven't
Similar.
replaced any of them. I know that you're allowed to do that. I have not so far.
Well, I
If I
mean,
like panic um
so
in the last
what,
week or so, I might
but one of the squares though is already to
to
recycle and make
recycle a
the
one.
square.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've done that
Okay.
because
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
square, but I
Sure.
haven't like replaced the short stories
Yeah.
yet. Something like that.
Nah, I think the short stories one is always there, and I actually never like. I think one year I tried and attempted to do it, and I even like got a book just because it fits that short stories prompt, and I never read it. I mean, I tried and I never did. I think stories really don't work for me, so I'm not gonna. That's okay. Unless one
Yeah.
year there's
Well,
really something that interests me.
do you want to go through like maybe the top row, like the first five, and then we can read some more, and then we can go through some more of them after? What do you want to
Sure.
do? Okay.
Uh, we can do that if you want. Top five. So I have four out of the five are filled. I only
Ooh.
have one for hard mode though. Which
I
is
don't
the
have the hard
nights.
modes written down, so I will not be able to tell you if mine are hard mode or not. I
I
will
have
just
it.
be able to
I
help
have
you.
it
Okay,
here. So the
great.
knights
So
and
why don't you read the
paladins.
prompt?
Yep. So first one is knights and paladins, and hard mode is the character has an oath or promise to keep. So for that one, not that I loved it, but I got Reforged by Seth Haddon, which is like an indie romantasy kind of book. And I was interested in it because it does follow a guy who is explicitly a knight paladin, to the king, and he has an oath to, of course, to protect the king. That he was sworn to do. So I did, take off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mine, I wrote down at least on this version of my list. I have Books and
Sure.
Broadswords by Bessie Myhalick. This is a set of two novellas that are bound together, and the first one is about a knight who is hunting a dragon, and
Mm,
they are like little romantic novellas. They are very cute. I highly
mm,
recommend them. I've had a great time reading them. They're very predictable, but they're kind of like little fairy tales. They're very
sure.
sweet. I definitely, yeah, I really enjoyed both of them. But the first one has a knight who I guess is keeping an oath, like has an oath to keep because he's supposed to
Yeah.
hunt again. Like he has a little quest that he's on. I'm not sure that I would like feel great about marking it as hard mode, but it's a good book.
Yeah. I think in my case I was okay because they explicitly were talking about the ceremony that they kept and they did to do this,
Yeah,
and the also the main character was obnoxious about reminding all the other paladin knights about this oath that they had. So it felt like, part of the challenge that, you had this thought of the oath always in the forefront, but like,
for sure.
so the second one is Hidden Gem, so a book 100 of under 1,000 ratings on Goodreads. And the hard mode is that it was published more than 5 years ago, which can be difficult. So actually,
Oh, I
for
don't know
this
when.
one, I do have a placeholder, I think, for now, just because there was this like indie kind of manga series that finally released a volume. It's only online also, so I got it to finish it. Not that I really enjoyed it that much, but I finished it and I put it there. But I do have a few indie books that have like less than 1,000 ratings, and like I think one or two of them that are more than 5 years ago, and I definitely want to read those sometime. So yeah,
Yeah, and this one does check off the hard mode. I used Thornbound by Stephanie Burgess, which
sure.
is it's a, it, it's kind of an academic
Mm,
novella about this world where women are in charge of politics because they are rational and men are in charge of magic because they are emotional. So it's like it's doing some like very surfacey gender
I
stuff,
see.
we're following a woman who wants to do magic and she wants to open a school for girls to do magic.
Mm,
And so the first book is kind of about her fight to be recognized and like be able to open her school. And then the second book is um, about like the actual beginnings of the opening of the school and like some troubles that happen along the way. So yeah, I mean, relatively enjoyable, but not like spectacular.
sure. And in the chats, just let us know, if you're participating, if you've been trying to do this challenge for VR Fantasy Bingo, how well are you doing? If you have for a prompt, and we're chatting, we haven't done it. If you have a book for us to recommend or, things like that. So the third one is published in the 80s, and
Mhm.
hard mode is written by an author of color. So for now, I don't have one with an author of color, but I have Alana the First Adventure by Tamora Pierce. So I feel like I have to say thank you, Angela, for
You're welcome.
recommending me to read this book, because now I just have it there without even like having to think to fill this one.
Yeah, that's a great one. So I read, okay, here's the problem. If I say it out loud, it's like a very minor spoiler for a book from the 80s. So, okay, anyway.
Oh,
So I counted the 8 here, which is of um a little bit of a cheat because I wouldn't really call it sci-fi fantasy. It's more of a like adventure thriller situation. But the reason I still, oh no, am I supposed to? No, 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 I'm not. Okay, everything's okay. Sorry, I thought I was supposed to be on a cable row there for a minute, and I was like, oh no, panic. But no, I'm fine. Okay, so uh,
I love that you are able to knit and talk at the same time.
well,
I'm
I
not
was
that
up until
proficient.
about 10 seconds. um, but I counted the 8.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really. There's not a ton of magic in it, but it is
Mm.
mystical, like in the same way that
Who's
like
it by?
Indiana Jones is kind of mystical, or like the Da Vinci Code is kind of mystical, where there are these unexplained, like spiritual ish, like magical instances
Mm.
that like legitimately cannot be explained in the book, and that the characters believe there's like something magical happening. So I counted it, even though it's like only lightly fantasy. If I end up reading another book from the 80s, I will count that instead because I'm sure that it would be a
Mm.
better fit. But it was enough for
I
me to
see.
put it down. And just to be perfectly frank to anyone listening, I don't submit my books to the subreddit
Mm.
or whatever. So I'm not like going for the badge. So this was
Oh,
close
me
enough for me.
neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. Because I know technically to count it as hard mode, you have to put the prompt in the Reddit. I'm mostly never on Reddit. I'm just on Reddit for this and like a couple, when I ask Google something and it tells me to go on Reddit. Otherwise, I'm not proficient on Reddit at
Yeah, I
all.
mean, I don't mind Reddit, but I just never get around to putting my books in. So,
Michelle, I'm not gonna comment on
Michelle,
that
I'm sure, does
because
not think that 8 should count as sci-fi fantasy, which is totally okay. You can judge me, Michelle. It's all right.
that's okay. I think it's always, sometimes, you're on the fence for genres as to, where you put them. And, I think especially, as you're planning, to probably, replace it at some point or something, it's almost so if you can't, then, it's totally fine. I mean,
It's
some of
definitely
them
got
that I
some
put for
paranormal
me
elements.
are like barely fitting,
Mm,
so
yeah.
then we have, I think, in this godforsaken one, the hardest prompt for me to fit, which is high fashion. Read a book where clothing, fashion, or fiber arts are important to the plot. And
Hilariously, there's
unfortunately,
another Tamora Pierce book I could point you to for this one. But I don't think you're supposed to use the same author twice, so I guess I won't
yes,
force you to do that
for
this year.
hard mode, you can't use the same author twice. Um, and so, hilariously, I do have a book in mind for this, which is Sword Crossed by Freya Marsky, because
Mm-hmm.
one of the two main characters are from the family of like weavers and like fiber owners, and there's a whole mystery of
Yeah,
like something happening in their warehouses and all those things. So it is,
yeah.
although one could argue it's not really fantasy because you're in this like brand new world, yes, but there doesn't seem to be really a lot of magic or even any, honestly. So you could also argue for that. And then the hard mode is that the main character makes clothes or fibers.
Yeah, so I stretched this one a little bit. I used A
Mhm.
Tale of Mirth and Magic. I'm not the only person who has used this book, so I don't feel guilty about it. This is about it's a fantasy romance with a jewelry maker. It did not stick with me. I would not have finished it if it weren't for this challenge because I do think this is
Mm-hmm.
a hard prompt. Um,
So
I yeah, I got
So
it
for
free on
this
Libro.
one, I did actually look up the Reddit a little bit for this prompt for ideas, but then also I did use the story graph challenge, and I
That's
don't
been
know
very
if it fits, but I used the story graph challenge in this case to look at which books people slotted this for, and I'm sure maybe some of them did like replace it by something else, but I was looking up especially the books that I already had on my TBR that would fit this prompt, and the Mask of Mirrors appeared, and I don't know if it
that's one that
fits
I thought
really
about.
well. But I do want to try it. I do have it on my TBR, so it is slotted in for that, and we'll see when I get to it. But I have to before the end of March, which is a good guess, I think. Um, and the last one before we read, because we've been chatting for a long time,
We've
we
been
have
chatting.
Down with the System, which is read a book in which a main plot resolve around a disrupting a system. And the hard mode, which is very hard for this, I think is not a governmental system. Because I think
I think I'm very proud of myself for this one, but you share yours first.
yeah, there's a lot of fantasy with the rebellious kind of plot.
Mhm.
And I did read City of Mirth and Malice by Alexis L. Menard, which is the sequel to House of Bane and Blood, which does have a full-on like rebellion and everything. But I can't say that it fits for hard mode because it does disrupt kind of a governmental system, kind of. So I don't want to put it for hard mode. And I don't think I have a hard mode kind of. I have put like Blood Over Bright Haven as possible books, but I don't know if it's hard
That one
mode or
would be
not.
it would definitely fit. I do think I've thought about that one in regards to this prompt. I don't know whether you would count it for hard mode. It's kind of all
Mhm.
wrapped. Their academic and their governmental systems are so closely entwined in that book.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was thinking with Babel, but I was like, you know,
I feel like Babel would probably count because
yeah,
it's so focused on the academics.
I
Um,
know, I know.
yeah, I counted. So what I have down for this one is actually, I think, a very unexpected one. I counted A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping for this because they take down the
Oh,
academic system in
I
their world.
see.
It's like a magic academic system that they're working with. So, yeah, that's the one that I counted.
Oh, yeah. I guess
Definitely
like,
a cozier one that I'm sure
yeah,
anyone else counted for there.
yeah,
But I think
yeah, yeah. Hi, Maria. We have
yeah,
done
hello.
like 1.5 sprint. Like, so we've been chatting too much. So we were actually about to
We're
start a new
actually
one.
just about to roll again. We've decided to start with a D4 and increase which die we're rolling. So this time is a D6.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So for a D6, we will be multiplying by 10. because that would take the 6 to an hour. And we got a 2, which means we have another short-ish sprint, which is about 20 minutes. But I think that's perfect.
I think the
Yeah,
dice really want us to roll all the
take it
dice today,
slow.
so we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be great. Awesome sauce. All right. Thank you all for listening to us ramble on for so long.
Yes.
Sorry it took us forever. I promise the next set will be much faster because we won't have to introduce it. We're going to start our 20-minute sprint. Good luck. Thank you.
How did you do this last sprint? And the cat's meowing did surprise me this time, which
It didn't
hasn't.
surprise me, but
It hasn't.
I looked up when there was like 8 seconds left, and I was frantically trying to get like two more stitches done, and then my
Oh,
hands just like totally froze up, and was like, ah, I can't do anything.
oh,
I was like, no.
yeah. I
So now it says
read
that she can practice. Oh, go
four
ahead.
more percent. So yay.
Yay.
And Tanel didn't track her pages, but around 20 pages or so. That's good progress in 20 minutes. What about you, Angela?
I also read about 4%. Maybe 5%. I'm currently at 11% of my book, which
Mm,
is pretty good. I have it going a little bit faster than 2 times speed because it's a reread, and
sure,
I know at least the beginning of this book is pretty simple. I'm following it very well, so I'm not concerned
for
about
sure.
the speed at which I'm reading it. But yeah, how are you enjoying
Yeah.
your reading experience with your book?
I mean, I don't think I'm loving it, but there's like like a couple things I'm like intrigued. The Queen, I want to know because like I have some theories already. And either
Mhm.
way, I think it's probably gonna be underwhelming. But I do want to at least, make some progress to like what I was like interested in to see. And if it's really going downhill, then I will DNF. Otherwise, it's an easy read for sure. Oh, Maria recruited a new Princess Bride friend, so I'd say it's sprint well spent.
I'm not sure I entirely know what that means.
So for others, without context, yeah, it might not mean anything. So Maria and a few others on Discord, on this Discord, Patreon Discord, we do really love Princess Bride, and we've been trying to have more and more people join our kind of cult. We do like bi-monthly. We try bi-monthly rewatch of Princess Bride, which is a lot, but
That
we
is
love
kind of
it.
intense. Okay. I'm
And
I'm
yeah,
glad it makes you happy. Yeah. I didn't
um,
watch Princess Bride until I was like maybe in late high school, early college, and it did not enchant me the same way that it has enchanted many others. Um, and I don't think
I
that's a problem of the movie. I think it's a me problem. But
yeah, yeah. I also, Maria, haven't managed bi-monthly rewatch for sure. I also haven't, Angela, actually watched it until I was in college.
Mhm.
Because it's not even a movie we can like easily like that's like a lot of French people know that much
Sure.
actually. So like it's fine. Um, Maria's trying to make you part of a cult. She's like, "Well, rewatch it with me."
I'm sorry,
When we
Maria.
barely did a rewatch, Maria. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything, but yeah. Um, and Tanel is thinking of a reread of a book of Princess Bride. I've never read the book, and I do want to read it one day, but we'll see. Michelle said that she goofed off during the sprint. So which is
Yeah.
good. You need goofing off. How about we go again with our rundown of our fantasy bingo with the
Let's jump right in
next
so that we
ones.
don't take as much time this time.
Exactly. So the next
And
one, I still don't have a book for this, but I have a book that I really want to read. Well,
Mhm.
actually, I have a couple books that I could read that would fit even hard mode. So that it's Impossible Spaces. Read a book sent in a location that would break a physicist. I like the title because I am a physicist, but
Yeah.
hard mode is at least 50% of the books takes place within the impossible space. So I think my main one that I want to read is Dungeon Crawl Carl. I have the audiobook because I've heard that it's really good, and I was, like on sale one day. And then I also have the sequel for Mark Lawrence, the book that wouldn't burn. I have a sequel, the book that broke her heart, that I could read for that, and I think that would also fit. But I don't
Hmm.
know if it would fit the hard mode with this. Ooh, buddy it with me in 2026. If you're talking of Princess Bride, I could be tempted. I don't know when in 2026, but we can see. Definitely.
Very nice. I love the plans.
Um,
So for
and I know
Impossible,
Danielle loves Dungeon Carlo Car, so you know. Yes, Angela, sorry.
I mean, it's very popular. It's on my list to get to soon. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to try it out. Um, oh,
Do
sorry, I got
you
distracted for a
have you
minute.
read a book
Possible
for
Places,
this?
yes,
Yeah.
I have. I read Arusha in the End of Time, which is
Mm,
a middle grade fantasy by Roshani Chokshi, I think,
yep.
which is it was published under the Rick Riordan press that Disney
I know.
has,
Yeah.
Disney on, and yeah, it's a cute little story. Oh no, I need to stop. It's a cute little story, and it went
Mm-hmm.
fine. This was actually one that was on my pile of shame for a little while
Mm,
because
I see.
I like I read it and then I started it and then I wasn't really into it. It's harder
Mm,
and harder for me to get into middle grade and YA nowadays, but I'm an elementary school librarian, so I still like to tap in
sure.
a little bit. And after I finished this book, I took my copy and donated it to my school, so it is now on my school's bookshelves, and the
Which is
children
good.
can.
I mean, the kids will be happy with it for sure.
Oh, they'll love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I read The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Shokshi, right? The one that is comped all the time to Six of Groves. Um, I hate read that trilogy, to be honest. So, but I'm sure the middle grade is a lot different from the young adults.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, it
much better.
definitely wasn't bad. Like, it was a high quality middle grade book. It just wasn't exactly what I was looking for.
Oh, I think
Um,
for me, I
like
hate
for
read mostly because of a relationship drama, which felt very high school-esque kind of thing. And
Gotcha.
the very poor historical setting, especially the first one, which is set in France, made me, like, it was bad. I was like, also like the author's note was like she went on a trip with her husband to Europe and she loved it, and so she went a few times to like, and it would be nice if she did some research, but it seemed like she did some barely Google search for stuff, and then she was like, that's
Sure.
fine, I can do whatever I want because it's a fantasy world anyway. But she made a point to make it very historical, like our world, but has magic anyway. That's okay. We'll stop talking about
Yeah.
this. So the next one
Sure. So
is
what's the next one? Mhm.
a book in parts, which I think is
Perhaps
one
the
of the
easiest
easier
one.
ones.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a hard one to know if you've not read the book, right? Because how do you know if it has like parts, sections, or stuff unless you flip in the book, right? And the hard mode is that it has four or more parts.
yeah. Mhm.
And so for this one, especially like knowing that a book has parts can be easy to glance. If you have the physical copy, you can look a little bit, but like without spoiling yourself, you might not want to look into it, seeing there's more four more parts. So the one I put for this one, and I do have hard mode, is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Basically it's just whenever I read a book and I felt that it was fantasy, or sci-fi. This one's more sci-fi dystopian, but and I didn't know how to put it to another prompt. I put it for this one. So, what about
Yeah,
you, Angela?
I had the same situation. Shadows of
Yeah,
Self. All of the Miss Thornton books are
yeah,
like in parts. I honestly
sure.
don't know how many parts there are in of Self. It's probably just three, so it probably doesn't count as hard mode, but that doesn't
Mm.
bother me. So.
Yeah, for Victoria Schwab, I didn't know if it was going to be more than 4 parts, but also her chapters are really short. And so she had a lot of parts for that one too. So that worked. The next one is a Gods and Pantheons. So I think I actually
Mm.
have a few ones. I don't know what I would like, because like featuring divine beings, yes, but like the hard mode, there are multiple pantheons involved. I guess it whatever definition you say of pantheon or things like this, I did count it as hard mode for me, and I put Heaven Official's Blessing by Ensue, which is like a light novel Chinese folklore, setting. Because it is heavily focused on gods, they also have ghosts who are also revered a little bit like gods too. So like there's so many like different gods of war and different things, and I felt like it was fitting because also the author took it from the Chinese folklore, but also other religions and like things like that. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So the one on my hardest reading challenge is different than the one I counted on Storygraph. On Storygraph, I counted The Mark of Athena, which is the third book in the
Yeah.
second Percy Jackson series. And this does count for hard mode because it deals with both the Roman and the Greek pantheons of gods, which is
Sure.
kind of fun.
Sure, sure, sure.
The one that I counted on my spreadsheet is A Second Chance. This one's way more loosey goosey. This is by Jodi Taylor, and it's one of the books in the Chronicles of St. Mary series. And this is one where they travel back in time to Troy. And there's a
Mhm.
lot about the actual gods aren't in it, but they're visiting this like iconic time in Greek history that's associated with a lot of gods. So that's why I counted it here.
Yeah. And thank you, Maria. Yeah, Kinder's Saga, the Spark of the Ever Flame would be the first book. I would be able to count the second book that I've read recently. It would work for that too, for sure. I haven't slotted in for anything else because I don't think it would, but so you're right. In principle, I've done it at least twice.
For sure.
And
I think that's
Michelle's also
interesting.
supplying some Nicholas Flamel books by Michael Scott as multiple pantheons. I think it is a good prompt because like it does allow a lot, like there's quite a few fantasy that has some gods and pantheons, but also like searching a little bit more for something to read. And I think we're 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth one in this row is last in a series. And the hard mode, of course, is the series is 4 or more books long. So
Mhm.
if I manage, because like right now I have a kind of placeholder because I was finishing this trilogy, which is the Undercutting of Rosie and Adam by Megan Bannon. Um, but I was thinking because I read Alana, I read the 4 books. If I slot in
Mhm.
the hard mode for that one, then I can replace it for this. But otherwise, of course, I have, a few other series that was hopeful to finish, but I haven't made progress this year. 2 of them. So I have the Spellslinger series by Sebastian Ducastel and the Mirror Visitor series by Christelle Dabo, which is a French author. Um, so I have those two. Realistically, it would make more sense to do the Mirror Visitor series because that one I only have 2 books to read.
Yeah.
What about you, Angela?
I There are multiple ones that I could have included here. I included The Queen's Triumph, which I actually don't remember this by the title at all. Especially later
Sure.
books in series, I have a hard time. Um,
Mhm.
Oh, it's the end of a Jesse Mihalik trilogy. So this was a sci-fi, like political, like fantasy romance situation. It's a
I see.
trilogy. I think it was one of her. It might have been her first trilogy that she came out with, and I really enjoyed it. It was good. But I've completed a bunch of I just realized that I have the same author here twice. I didn't realize that before just now. I didn't think that I did. So I might
That's okay.
switch that one out for something else at some point.
Yeah, sometimes it's a lot harder, especially as you start to like rearrange some things and you're like, oh my gosh.
I put this
Uh,
here, so I need to take that out of there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So the last one that we have in this series in this row to finish off is book club or read along. So read and participate, like it's basically you have to read a book that was or is officially a group read on our fantasy and the hard mode, which I'm not gonna do because as I said, I'm not going on Reddit, is to read and participate in our fantasy book club or read along during the bingo year. Um I'm not going to participate, so that's okay. Um, so I for this one, I just whenever I read a book, I was like, I looked. I think I looked after like 6 months or whatever if there was a book in there that fits. And odds are, if a book is like a famous kind of fantasy novel, it's probably has been in there. So I
Yeah,
put the City of Brass for that. So
nice. I used Mooncakes, which is a cute little
mm,
graphic novel. It was fine. I went to a library and I had a day off of work and I went to a
fair.
library and just sat and I read Mooncakes. I just sat
Mm.
there and I read the whole thing and I went, good for me. I did it.
Yeah,
Huzzah. So yeah, it was fine. It was good. But this is always one of my least favorite because I feel like I just end up scrolling through years of read alongs looking for
I know.
anything that I want to read. I don't love this. If I was going to replace a square, this would be one that I would probably likely replace.
Well, I think with the Storycraft challenge, a good thing is that if you wait a few months, you're
It does make
gonna
it easier to scroll.
probably your best bet is to scroll, especially you can see how many times somebody has put it for this category. And like it's easier for me also to look at the list, to look at the books, let's say that, because also for this one, I'm usually trying to read off from my TBR and books I already have, right? I'm not trying to read
Yeah.
whatever random books that would fit in there. And like so I look it up and I see, oh, is this one? And then I did check on Reddit if it was in one of those like lists, and then it's easier if you're looking for like a specific book in mind. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I will say that I did have mooncakes not on my physical TBR, just on like my list of things I wanted to read for a really long time.
sure. No, no,
Did
no,
help me mark that off. So
sure.
it didn't feel quite as random, but it did take, I would say, a while to research
Uh-huh.
enough to figure out which
Yeah,
one
I
would be
know. I know.
easily achievable for
Yeah.
this prompt.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
the same every time you want to look at the Reddit for their recommendation for each prompts. Also, I feel like Reddit is not great to like have to swift through and everything the list. But
For
yeah.
this one, they have a spreadsheet, so it wasn't too bad. Um,
Yes.
but
No, no.
yeah, it's still obnoxious to like look back through all of the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that finishes the row, if I'm not
Yes, it
mistaken.
does. It does. So
That's
we
nice.
can roll a d8, I guess.
We can roll a d8. Now, this is the only one that's tricky as far as splitting
Yes.
60 minutes. So it'll be what? Like
We
7
could
point
do
something.
5. We could do times 5. It's not, I mean,
If you want it to be, if you want to err on the side of shorter sprints, we can do times 5.
we could do times 5 for this one. It's not that way. It's not like obnoxious to count.
Oh no, Clementine. The dice really like the number 2 today.
10 minutes sprint. Okay.
Okay, do you want to use the actual like 7 minutes or whatever? Because 60 divided by 8 is 7.5. That's not bad. So that would be a 15 if we multiply by 2,
Okay.
which is
Then
slightly
let's
better.
go with that then.
Awesome. See, the dice this just didn't want us to be inaccurate. It was like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
switch it to 5 minutes instead of 7.5. Well,
Yes.
then
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
Let's
Okay.
go,
Well,
people.
15 minutes are up. Good luck. Hello.
Welcome back.
So quick tonight. They're so fast.
Yeah, they're so fast. So I read exactly 15 pages. Yay.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this book, I don't know if because like Fairly did it as an exclusive edition, right? And when they do these, they love to pull out, comps of like different, other media and
Sure.
everything. And I don't know what they put for this one, but I'm tempted to say that it's a retelling of Tangled, especially the Disney movie, not the like in
Not
some
Rapunzel
ways
the fairy tale. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
it
understand.
reminds me like because like there was this like I, ugh, I don't want to say any spoilers or anything if anyone wants to read this book, but like there's like this there was this scene and it was like that's that's Tangled, but also like now I know what's gonna happen with that part, and I'm like obviously it is that. Just yeah, also I'm a little bit annoyed at the main character because she's like, "Yeah, I was rejected." And then we finally saw the scene and I was like, "Huh? Okay, yes, but also like he didn't say anything. There could be a lot of reasons why he would, because like you were just discovered by your mother, the queen, and the wizard, and like nobody loves that because he's supposed to be, engaged to the actual princess who's not there. So like there could be a lot of reasons why he left, and he said, "No, we're not meant to be."
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's all he said. Also, like, so how much did you read?
I am up to 13%, so I got another 2% in. I struggled to get my Bluetooth to like connect.
Oh
Um,
no.
at the beginning of it. So that slowed me
Uh-huh.
down a little bit. Atlas, come here. Atlas is getting super shaky. I'm not sure why we're shaking, but we're shaking and wanting to be pet on the floor. So we're just going to move that whole situation up here instead. Michelle
I
watched
can.
most of Jeopardy and read 2 whole pages. Congratulations,
That's
Michelle.
still two more pages. Shall we get back into our fantasy? Because I don't want to.
Yeah,
Um,
let's do it quick.
okay, let's see
Speed
how
round.
quickly we can do. So period protagonists read a book where a main character has a child to care for. It doesn't have to be biology related to the character, which helps. And the child is also a major character in the story. So I did count it as hard mode. You can fight me on this if you want. I'm not, like I'm not sure it totally fits, but I put Voyage of the Damned by Francis White for
I have
this.
not read it, so I cannot judge for you. Um,
There is a one of the because like so basically they're on this journey, all the heirs of the different kind of house like noble houses, important houses, and there's like 12 of them, and like the main character is really helping this kid because like he's the heir, but he just arrived and he's like 10 years old or something. So he's
mm,
really like helping him and foster him, and he's there throughout the whole thing. So I did count it as like a main character because he is a main character for me. But
yeah, for sure. I read, I included, so I wrote down Bodyguard for this one. This is by Jennifer Ashley.
mm,
She has a series of like shifter romances that I've been slowly working my way through. Whenever I've been in a reading slump, I'll pick one up. Um,
mm.
and this one, there's one of the main characters has a kid. I don't think it would count for hard mode. I don't think the kid is integrated enough into the plot to count for that. But it worked for the prompt, which is what I was looking for.
Yep, yep. Next one we have epistolary. I don't have hard mode for this one.
What was
The
hard
book
mode for this one?
must epistolary. The books must permanently feature any of the following: diary or journal entries, letters, messages, newspapers, clippings, transcripts. And hard mode is the book is told entirely in epistolary format, which means in letter formats. Um, I don't have hard mode for this because I think I barely know like of a few that would be like hard mode, and I'm not, interested of rereading A Diary of Blood or things like that. So
Mhm.
I put the third and final book in the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett for this because it is entirely told not in epistolary format but in journal entries. So I think it's a good kind of compromise for me. It's not hard mode and it's fine.
Yeah. I read the Moonday Letters, which is like it's a sci-fi like eco thriller where there's interplanetary travel, and it's a
I
lot
see.
about like environmentalism and like Earth's environment and stuff. And it's
Mm,
this woman looking for her spouse who has gone
mm,
missing
hmm.
and might be involved in like a secret, like kind of
I
eco
see.
terrorist organization. It does work for hard mode. It's entirely told in letters. I thought it was only okay. It's also translated fiction, which was cool. That hit
Oh.
one of the other prompts. But
Mm,
yeah, I thought it was fine. One that I really love that's epistolary. I should really reread this one. I read it back in high school and maybe also once in college. Is
mm,
Sorcery and Cecilia, or The Enchanted Coffee Pot. That one's told entirely in letters between two girls who are in Regency, England, and one of them goes to London, like for her season, and the other one stays back home. And both of them are encountering magic in different ways,
mm,
which is kind of fun. And they're writing to each other about it. And it's by two different authors, and each of them wrote the
mm,
other, like one
hmm.
of the perspectives. So
A little
they
bit
actually
like,
wrote it in their letters, which is really cool.
yeah, the same, like probably very different execution or very different story in some ways, but same in the format as the This Is How You Lose the Time War, because you do have the letters
Mm,
and they're written by two different authors. I think it's cool when you have that because you can clearly also because they have fun with really the voice that they put in there and it can clearly tell that it's two authors. Um,
yeah.
so next one, published in 2025. I mean, the prompt is, self-explanatory enough. Is just that it's published for the first time in 2025, no reprints or like, indie to trad, publication or something. And the hard mode is also that it's a debut novel. So for this one, I do have hard mode, I believe, and I put The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson for that, which is a adult fantasy with some romance. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's entirely possible I've hard mode on this somewhere. I counted Atonement Sky, which is the new book in the Sky Changeling Trinity
Mm,
spin-off series that came out this year.
cool, cool.
Yeah.
Then we have author of color. So self-explanatory. Hard
Mhm.
mode is read a horror novel by an author of color. So, I mean, for this, I did not count the hard mode, but also it does have some slight horror-y elements, but I did not count it as hard mode because, like, I'm not reading horror anyway most of the time.
Okay.
And I put The Dead Cattail Assassins by
Mm.
P. Djeli Clark, which is a novella, um, kind of a
Oh, you're not having
fantasy
me knitting.
novella. It would
Sorry, Atlas
actually,
is walking on my knitting. Come here. I love you, but come here.
what's happening, Atlas?
He wanted to burrow into my bag of knitting, and I said
Oh,
no burrowing into
yeah,
my bag of knitting. Do you want to get cozy under the blanket?
sure.
There we go. Okay.
And I think the Dead Cattail Assassins also would fit for the Gods and Pantheons too. That's what I put it first as anyway. So yeah. I think there is
Yeah.
a horror, more like horror novella from this author, which was the Ku Klux Klan inspired kind of Ring Shout, it's called, right? where basically it's like this cult who's like they're zombies or something like this. And I was like, I was interested, but I'm like, I'm really not into horror, so I'm fine.
Yeah. I haven't researched every author on my list, but at least three of the authors I've already talked about today
Mhm.
are people of color. But I have not filled in this one yet, just because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like I've been using them for other prompts in the
sure,
readathon.
sure.
Um, yeah, it's an easy one to get, so I figure I'll just get it at the end because it's easy to fill this one in, but it's harder to get the other ones.
Well, I think this one I have it there because I slotted it for Gods and Pantheons because I think it was one of the first books I read in April of 2025.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, it fits this. And it was really talking about God. So I felt really interesting, like to put it in there. And then I was like, oh, and of course it would fit for other stuff. And then since I read another one, I was like, oh yeah, okay. I'll
Sure.
slot this one in because and I don't see where I would put it elsewhere than this for now, so it's there. Um
Yeah, I'm in the same boat for small press or self-published. So my hidden
mhm.
gem and my high fashion were both self-published books, I believe. But
Yeah.
and I think both of the Jessie My Halleck's I read were like small press. So I already have four on this list, but I haven't put one in here yet.
Which is great because the next one is the small press or self-published.
Right, that's
But the
right.
hard mode is that it has less than 100 ratings,
Which
which
is
is
harder
it
to
is
find.
hard. I
It's
do have
harder to
a
find like a
couple
quality book that you feel confident about.
well, I do have a couple books because I did get there was like an event in the bookstore close to me, and I did get like a sci-fi book from this author, so and it's like less than like 100 ratings still, so that means I should really read it because I had
Yeah.
a nice fun discussion with this guy anyway. So like I should, and I probably will, but
Hmm.
I I if I will before the end of March, we'll see. For now, I did put Blood Gift by Vila Roth, which is like, a pretty I mean it's pretty well known, so it's not like less than 100 ratings, but it is self-published. And that was the last for this round. And we have two more rounds, two more rows to go for.
Well, I mean, with how the dice has been treating us, we might end up being able to do it.
Yes.
All right, so we rolled a d8.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure next is a d10.
Yep.
Um, so whatever we get, we will multiply by 6 to get our sprint length.
Yes.
So let's see. Okay, the dice. I'm telling you, I'm not faking it. I
It's
promise.
a two.
It just really, really loves the number 2. It was a 2. So
Okay, I feel like
I
next time we do the reading sprints, we do exactly the same, but I roll my dice. Just we'll
maybe
see.
you'll just
Right.
like really roll high the
I
whole
don't know.
time and then we'll get
Yeah.
through like 2 sprints because we keep getting hour longs.
I know.
Um, but yeah, so wildly, we will be um
Back soon, which
doing
is
another
good in some way because this book I'm not liking it so much, so it's small chunks, right?
good to break it up. How far do you think you're going to push yourself through it before you like decide whether you're giving up?
So I think because they're like traveling to this like Fey world kind of thing, I want to get there, and then I'll see.
Okay, that's
Essentially.
fair. Very fair. Alrighty, good luck, y'all. We will see you in 12 minutes.
Yeah. That was very quick.
It was very quick. I agree. It was long enough, however, for me to realize I had a package delivered, extricate myself from the chair with Atlas, and go get my package, and then come back up and settle back in. So, success.
So overall, I reached 18% in the book and 73 pages. Yeah, there's some slight things that can be interesting in the magic or things like that, but with the way it's told in folklore and everything, I don't think I'm gonna have as many, like explanation as I'd like. It's not gonna be like a hard system, so which usually doesn't work as well for me, but as I said,
Sure.
I'll continue until they get there, which will be another probably maybe 50 pages, which is probably what I'm willing to give it. So let's continue into our
I
fantasy
made
bingo.
it to 15%, by the way. And
Yeah,
we're still at the academy. So we're still in the first half and it's still
yeah,
fine. Huzzah.
that's great.
Yes. All right. I'm grabbing my spreadsheet.
So, biopunk. Read a book that focuses on biotechnology and or its consequences. And the hard mode is there is no electricity-based technology, which can be difficult. But I happen to read A Drop of Corruption by Rebecca Jackson Bennett, which is the sequel to. I'm blanking. That's fine. That's
The sequel to The Tainted Cup.
Yes, that's it. I was seeing the cover, but not the title. I just. What about you?
I read Infinite Archive, which is a mystery that takes place on a spaceship. And there are lots of different creatures that form symbiotic relationships with one another and with humans. There are also
Mhm.
some really interesting, like sentient spacecraft. So, yeah, it definitely fits in the
Yes.
description of biopunk that's given on the subreddit.
So the next one is Elves or Dwarves. Read a book that features the classical fantasy archetypes of elves and or dwarves. They do not have to fit the classic tropes, right? They just have to be named or identify as such. So the main character is an elf or dwarf to be hard mode. I probably could put something else for this, but I put the one reread I'm allowed to have in there because I was rereading the Aragon, like the Inheritance series by Christopher Paolini. And I put Eldest, especially because that one for me, you can, because the main character is like an elf in this one. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is actually, I think, one of the only like challenging ones that I have left. Um, I have not read one that would count for this so far this year, and I definitely need to
Mhm.
figure out what I'm going to do for this square.
Sure. After that, the next one is a lot easier. This is a read a book where main character is under the LGBTQIA plus umbrella, and the hard mode is a little bit more added for sure, which is the character is marginalized on at least one additional axis, such as being a person of color, disabled, or a member of an ethnic, religious, cultural minority in the story.
So I
So,
have, oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this is another one that I do not currently have filled in, but I've read at least two, probably more, that I
Mhm.
currently have on my list elsewhere.
Sure.
And I'm just saving this one for the end because I know it will be easy to slot something in.
Yeah, I also put a placeholder for that one, but I think now because I do put like a in there in my sheet of like possible books. to read, and I realized I just read a book that would fit the hard mode. So I can put that one. So it's Queen Demon by Martha Wells because the main character is a demon and he is definitely queer. There's definitely so much queerness in this book, and he's also a demon in a world of humans, and he's definitely marginalized because of it. So I think it would fit for that.
Cool.
So that's the sequel to Witch King by Martha Wells, which I know didn't work for many people because they, knew her sci-fi series, and then they started to read this one, and they were saying like, "Oh, the writing is completely different," which it is, but I also enjoyed it. Anyway, the next one is the 5SFF short stories. And I know the hard mode is that for this is that you have to read the whole book collection of short stories, I think. I did replace that one, however, as I said, by a title, of for hard mode of 7 or more words. So
Yeah, I have not finished this one yet on this sheet. I might have read something that would count before I started the hardest reading challenge spreadsheet, but I'm not going to look right now. I plan to probably pick up a short story collection somewhere. The other option is I've been reading through a bunch of Brandon Sanderson's works, and like there are some interstitial short stories that I should be picking up. So I might
fair.
end up counting those if I end up at 5.
Uh-huh. And as we go to the fifth one in this second to last row, I realize that this is the row now that I have all hard modes completed. So yay! This is the
And this
only
is
row.
the row that I have the fewest number finished at all.
Which is interesting. It's interesting.
Very
It
funny.
shows how, what type of like maybe fantasy we read or what we prioritize maybe in this, bingo to fill. Anyway, the last one is Stranger in the Strange Land. So read a book that deals with being a foreigner in a new culture. The character must be either visiting or moving in as a minority. So I guess the last book I was talking about also would work because the hard mode is the main character is an immigrant or refugee. But I did happen to finish the trilogy of The War of Lost Hearts by Carissa Broadbent, which is Children of Fallen Gods. So I put this one for that because the main character is an immigrant or refugee. And she's definitely a foreigner.
Yeah. I chose A World Without Heroes, which is the first in the Beyonders series, which is
Mm-hmm.
a middle grade series, and this is a portal fantasy. So
Nice.
it's exactly the definition. I mean, it doesn't fit the hard mode. He's definitely not a refugee, but he like through mysterious circumstances, this young boy gets transported into this land that is under oppressive rule, and he is going to help some folks get out from under the oppressive rule. Huzzah!
So,
Yeah,
okay, and with that, we only have one more row to do, and we have time to do a D12.
AD12. I can
A2?
feel you waning. Are we starting to hit Clementine's?
No, we're okay.
It's Clementine. No, okay.
We're okay.
Oh, I got more this time. I got a 7
Okay.
this time, but it is a
Ooh,
D12, which means we are going to multiply by 5. So that's
yes.
35 minutes, which I feel like is like our first normal sprint tonight.
Yeah. Which is weird to do at the more back end of the sprint, but it's okay.
Yeah,
And I think with 35 minutes, maybe I will actually be able to decide what I do with this book. So
that would be
exciting.
good. It would be
Oh,
good to have some,
yes.
yeah. And
Yeah.
also, it would be good too if you decide to leave it and start something else. Good to like actually read something that you're enjoying.
The two buddy reads I'm in the middle of and enjoying, I could read instead of this. So,
This is
you
true.
know.
This is true. Yes, you are the one choosing to do this to your own self. So I will
Yes,
leave you
I,
to
I'm
contemplate.
choosing to do this challenge because I do want to read my TBR down to 50 books. So that's it.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay, well, good luck. Hello, hello.
Welcome back. I'm
Welcome
now
back.
at 27%. So overall, I've read 150 pages today. And unfortunately, I think that was our last print because I'm so tired.
I want it to be noted that I called it.
Yep. It was
I
too
win.
ambitious.
That's okay. Um, so I got to 22%, and I'm still in the everything's great. Well, everything's
Yeah.
not great. It's kind of miserable story, but I'm enjoying it. Oh, I just realized that I never changed my name. I'm not reading A Botanist Guide to Parties and Poisons anymore. I'm
It's
reading The
okay.
Poppy War.
It's
Oopsies.
okay.
There's no use in changing it now. But yeah, I have been, yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed every minute of reading it today, and so I'll
That's good
definitely
so far.
continue with this
That's
individual
good.
book for sure.
Yeah. Let us know in the chat if you wanted to let us know. Um, nice. Picked up some Play with the Cats, Cuddled, started a new book. Nice. Productive.
Very
So how about we still finish, our fantasy bingo because I feel like, update because there's only five left, right?
Yeah, might as well
Um,
not leave it hanging. Why
yes.
not?
So this one we'll have to also say what we're doing because this is the Recycle a Bingo Square. So I actually took and I did note which board it was from for this prompt. So I took a SFF novel by an Australian author because, I realized there were a few Australian authors I knew, but not so many, and I did want to read more from them. So this is from a 2019 board. Um, and I don't think I will hit hard mode for this because it has to be small press or self-published. So I have not read a book for that yet, but I did put a few authors, as I said, that I know are Australian and I've read from before. So there's Jay Bree, who wrote some romantasy. There's Foz Meadows, which, we've read both from before, Strange and Stubborn Endurance, right? There's also Freya Marsky. I've read the Marvel's Light kind of trilogy and then the Sword Crossed. And I was hoping they would have a book, but not so far. And there's also James Islington that I put in there. I think that is Australian. So if I was interested to read The Will of the Many at some point, I would. But I have not. I don't have that book physically. I am interested to try it. I haven't loved his previous trilogy, but everyone loves the book. I think I was just waiting for the sequel to see how it went. So that's it for me.
Awesome. I recycled a book with a mystery plot, which is very easy for me. I read a lot of sci-fi fantasies that have mystery plots, and
Yep,
right now I have Shattered Glass in there. Shattered Glass is also my one reread that I'm allowed.
sure.
So I might end up switching it out later, but that's what I've got for right now.
Got it. The next
That's
one
Shattered
is
Glass by.
Code.
I
Yeah,
realized I didn't say the author name.
yeah, and I'm too tired to remember that you didn't. So,
It's
yeah, I
okay.
know this book. Um, the next prompt is cozy SFF, so cozy fantasy sci-fi. And the hard mode is that the author is new to you. And for this one, I put a few possibilities because I do like cozy fantasy. But I actually read, so I did put like hard mode for this because it's a duo of authors, and as far as I'm concerned, they haven't written anything together yet, until this book. But you can count it or not. So this is Homegrown Magic by Jamie Paxton and Rebecca Puros. So they both have written but individually, not as a duo before. So anyway,
Have you read from both of them before?
no.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah. So the cozy sci-fi fantasy that I have on here, it will not count for hard mode, is The Enchanted Greenhouse. I don't remember
Mm,
the author,
hmm
but it's the popular
By
one, the follow-up to the spell shop.
Sarah Beth
Laura,
Durst, I think.
yes, 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 there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is put in my possible list, the spell shop, not the author, because I've never read from this author before, so which is the whole point. The next prompt, and I actually hit hard mode and I realized it by accident, is a generic title. Read a book that has one or more of the following words. So there's blood, bone, broken quartz, dark shadow, song, sword, or throne. Plural is allowed. And the hard mode is that the title contains more than one of the listed words. So I had a lot of fun looking, but it was long to look at all the books that I have on my TBR that would fit this. And none of the books fit hard mode that were, on my TBR at the time. But it started like an easy kind of paranormal romance with kind of a fantasy fae world element to this. And I realized reading book 4 that it fit because it's The Secrets in Shadow and Blood. So that works for this by Lana Bisharik. So this is the first book is The Longing of Lone Wolves. So is this like indie self-published kind of series? It's a long series, but it's like a series within series. It's like trilogies. So I read like the wolf one, and I'm reading the vampire trilogy. So this is the vampire one, and then after that there's the Fae elf one, and finally she's writing the crow ones. Anyway, they're crow shifters. But yeah.
Sure. I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure one of the words on the list is broken. Is that true?
Yes. Yes, it
Okay,
is.
awesome. So I do hit hard mode because I read 5 Broken Blades, and one of the qualifications for hard mode was a number and one of the words for this square.
Yes.
So five
Yeah,
broken
yeah.
blades fits that. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to read that because it was like, yeah. A color, number, or animal. Yes. That also a thing.
Yes.
For me, it's 2 of the words, but like, yes, that works too. So the next one, I didn't really put like hard mode for this one is just to write and post a review to our fantasy. So of course that I'm not gonna hit that. But the thing is to do not a book, so do something new besides reading a book, watch a TV show, play a game, etc., etc. And for this, I actually made myself pick up a video game other than The Sims, which I haven't done for all my life nearly because I've only like played Pokemon or something like this, and that's it. And then The Sims. And so I started Stardew Valley, and I'm having fun actually. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, I counted the so I run an in-person book club, but then I
Mm,
also picked up an online book club to start running this year, and I counted that for the square because it's
yeah,
something sci-fi fantasy related, it's something book related, but it's not me actually reading a book.
sure,
So
sure. And I could put that in there for that too,
yeah.
certainly because we're in the same book club. And the last one is pirates. Read a book where characters engage in piracy. The hard mode is not a seafaring pirate, so I fear that I won't hit the hard mode. Um, with that, I won't find any book that I want to read that would fit the hard mode. I have Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson for this one that I've read. So yeah,
Yeah, that's a great one.
yeah.
Um I have Here There Be Monsters for this one, which is the prequel novella to the Iron Duke series by Mel Jean Brooks. Um, so that one was tricky for me. I don't love pirate books. So I was just grateful to get anything for that.
Well, I realized that I haven't read a lot of fantasy with pirates in them so far, I think. I think pirates that are
Mhm.
cold pirates, right? Because I've read like some sci-fi, obviously, where you have thieves and like, or fantasy where you have thieves, but like pirates, not really. So it was nice to have that.
Nice.
So yeah, I have three prompts, and I think, like, um, that I haven't done anything for, which is
Mhm.
pretty good. But also I mean, we are nearing more like the ending of this challenge. I think I'm hoping
Well,
to get
to
like,
be clear to anyone listening,
yes,
the end of this challenge is in April. We are a little bit more than halfway to
the
the
end
end
of
of this.
March. The end of March, yes. So we
Sure.
do have like a little bit less than 5 months. So we are in the second half of this challenge. But I know
Yeah.
myself, and I know that with the new year, even if I put it in my new journal, it will be a lot harder for me to realize this, because I realized last year what happened is that at the beginning of it, I had like such interest in everything and I was picking a lot of books. And then I realized it was harder and harder to fit those prompts. And as I'm a mood reader, I couldn't say, like, oh, and I'm going to read this and this and this and be done. Right. So then I
Mhm.
stopped like thinking about it too much. And then it was the end of March. And I was like, I haven't been like, or whatever. And I had like one prompt or something that kept me from finishing it, and I had to scrabble and scramble and stuff, and I barely did it by the skin of my teeth. So like you know, I would like to make more of an effort for this to at least, have most of them done, and I think I've done a better job this year for sure. So I do want to continue. Especially like I think in the three prompts that I have left not done at all, I think the two that I already have, books slotted in for that, it would be good to read them, right? And then I just have the Australian author one, and I can see whatever is happening, because there is like Foz Meadows has like some backflip books, and I was considering trying it
Yeah.
since I loved the books I read from them before. So like, it is what it is. We'll see.
Yeah, I think this should be pretty easy for both of us to finish out, actually. I think whether we've
Yeah.
knocked out a lot of the really challenging ones, which is
Yes.
awesome. It sets us up in a really good position to finish out
Well, I
strong.
just have the one challenging one. I just have a book that I hope will work for the high fashion. So we'll see. Yeah. Anyway,
Alrighty.
thank you everyone for joining us for these sprints, which were a lot more chatty and a lot less reading and productivity. We promise, nothing because of the chaos dies and us, chatty folks, but maybe next time we will be more reading productive. Like, if you look at other sprints, we have been a lot more productive than this one.
I
But
don't know.
still,
I feel like I still made a lot of progress tonight, even though we did it in like shorter
yeah,
bits.
no. I did read like 115 pages, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Um, anyway,
All right.
goodbye everyone,
Good
and
night,
see you next time.
everybody. See you next time.